Good day everyone. Today, I'm going to perform the activity 4 running through BIOS and Bootstrap. And here are the following questions. Discuss what is BIOS and the detailed information in the BIOS interface. Explain the Bootstrap process. To begin with, BIOS stands for Basic Input-Output System. So the BIOS is a piece of code that performs read-only in a flash memory chip on the computer motherboard. And it's often referred to as motherboard firmware, which is built into computer's motherboard. It initializes the computer's hardware as the computer is being booted. And then, after it initializes the hardware, it then searches for a boot device such as hybrid hard drive, SSD or solid state drive, and even optical drive. So, how do you access BIOS on your computer? There are several options to access computer BIOS. By pressing a key during the boot up process, this key is often displayed during the boot process with a message. Or you can do the shift restart method. Currently, this is the new type of BIOS, and it's called UEFI, stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. A UEFI has several advantages over the old BIOS. And the first and most obvious, it has a user-friendly graphical user interface that support different colors and different animations. Whereas old BIOS has a typical blue screen that resembles BSOD, or blue screen of death. In UEFI, it recognizes largest storage drives over old BIOS, where it cannot recognize large storage in older BIOS. In UEFI, you can even use mouse, whereas in old BIOS, only be able to use keyboard. And here in UEFI, there are several options and configurations that you can do with this. First is in the settings. It has a system status, advanced boot, security, and on this side, this is the details in CPU, short description in CPU. Next is the memory. Next is the storage. Next is the fan info, and the help menu. Over here, we have the monitoring and fan control hardware monitor. As you can see, this is the how you control your fan curve. Next is the M-Flash, where you can update your BIOS. Next is the boot priority. This is under the MBR or master boot record. Over here, I prioritize my OS since my SSD, since it is put in the SSD. Now, Bootstrap is the process of loading a set of instructions when a computer is first turned on or boot. During the startup process, the following diagnostic test is performed, such as the power on self-test, also known as POS, the check configurations for devices and testing for the connection of peripherals, hardware, and external memory devices. And then the bootloader or Bootstrap program is then loaded to initialize the OS. And some typical programs that load the OS are NT loaders or NTLDR. A bootloader for Windows NT OS usually runs from the hard drive. Linux loader, Lilo. A loader for Linux generally runs from a hard drive. GNU Grand Unified Bootload or group, a multi-boot specification that allows the user to choose one of several OS. The Bootstrap program is a part of ROM, which is the non-volatile, meaning the memory that retains its values even the power is removed. The operating systems are loaded into the RAM by the Bootstrap program after the start of computer system. Then the operating system starts the device drivers.